I gotta focus in on the weird part of the camera. It's like, oh man.
Well, just you don't have to focus on the camera. Just focus. Just look at us, right? Look at us.
I
You're just
can I
checking
can
yourself
see,
out now, right? He's
see
like
the
he's
light.
like grooming. Oh, Jamie's
Not
jumping in on the
every
comments. Where is she? Yeah.
other days were worse.
Okay, Jamie, I see that you're in on the comments, but where are you in the live stream, my darling?
Says,
So what's the new going on with you, Laura? What's happening in your world?
Not much. I just met a really amazing guy.
Ooh, new love, new love. I won't. Well, L bombs are maybe a little intense, but right, you don't have to say it. You
New
don't have to
love.
say it.
Finally getting some
Does he?
normalcy and not all this craziness.
Right. But here's the thing about normal guys. I just said this to Jamie earlier today. At some point, they're going to want to like pee on your ears or something. Like they always get really weird. The normal dudes.
I mean, that doesn't sound so bad, bro. I'll take peeing on my ears.
oh man.
Look, I
Jesus,
remember
that
the
has-
first time that a guy asked me about a golden shower, and I had no idea what he was talking about.
Oh my god.
I was
like deer in the
what?
headlights. Like, how'd you react?
Will I
to
do what?
Man.
You want to take a shower with me?
that?
Yes, dating
Just had
normies is
someone
hard.
ask me if they can spit in my mouth.
That's see right. Like,
I can say I've heard that one before, but pissing
oh
on
yeah,
you,
I've been there. I've heard it. I've never had it. I kind of had it requested once, but just say hey, it's not my thing. Whatever, right? Who am I to shame anybody? You should see some of the weird shit I've done.
Mild. I
Whatever,
feel like
right?
kind of mild guys. They want to like. Well, I'm not going to go into that.
Like pee on you or something. Like that is so like so to normies. That's like, ooh, I'm adventurous, right? Like, oh, you want it rough? It's like, oh, you like that? Do you like that? Right?
yeah.
Baby, you look cute with a hat on, girl.
Thank you.
Yeah, you
Hey.
do. Yeah, you do. Thanks for jumping in, ladies. That was like so last minute. We didn't even decide we were going to do this till like an hour ago. And then I had to go walk the dog before the sun comes up. And then, it's just too damn hot here to do that when the sun's up. So right? You can see
Yeah,
we're at the
so you
golden
know,
hour for lighting. It's coming in here, you see.
I've been quarantined by myself here for 5 days, so human
Oh,
interaction is good.
Right. Yeah. I appreciate that. Well, when we were in the last time we did the games night there, which, I guess we already addressed it once, but Laura, you can't flirt with me shamelessly tonight. You have a man in your life now. So this time I need you to just to rein it in. Okay.
Yeah, reel it in. You're already spreading rumors, bro. Get me in trouble over here.
It happened. This is not what happened.
That is not what happened.
Well, okay, you're right. No.
Yeah, that's not what happened.
Nor, okay, now that we've got some more people in on the live stream, guys, the thumbnail says murdered mom. I'm a piece of shit liar. I misunderstood. I wasn't paying attention. Dad's a murderer. Grandma's a drug dealer. Mom was not murdered. So we have that clear. I'm going to have to say that every 2 minutes for the rest of this live stream because I can't change the fucking thumbnail. It's too late. I can't do it. It's there forever now. So
I thought the thumbnail was Gary Shirey from Bub's Grubs. I didn't know it went to my mom's a murderer.
Oh, I changed it after. Yeah, I changed it after the fact because I was like, hey, we can do better. We can get some attention, right? Okay, we can get some attention by buying a lying piece of shit, right?
You got some attention. Like, wow.
Yeah, right. People are going to jump in and go, what? So, but
they'll be like, I just seen her. How does she murdered?
What happened?
No shit. I hope mom isn't on social media, right?
Yeah, she allowed to tune into it. On my page, she allowed to get on it too. It was crazy.
Gary, mom. Oh, Casey's in the house here from F Around and Recover. Hey, brother, how are you doing?
What's up, Casey?
What's up, Casey?
Yes. Hey, Laura, did you ever start your page, the Tattooed Barbie thing?
Me and Jamie were just talking about it. I did start it, but now that I'm in a relationship and I'm in a really good place, I don't know if I still want to do it because I don't know if I want to talk about all that negativity that's happened to me. But she's still saying how you know, you got to be a voice out there for men and women that are going through those types of things. And I don't know. I'm kind of going back and forth on the idea right now.
That's fair. That's fair.
I
I'll
wanna
let
pour
Jamie
all
sell you on it.
I
I'm not
wanna-
going to push too hard.
Yeah, I also want to pour all my time and energy into the relationship. So, I mean, it takes a lot to do all the whole entire YouTube thing, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does.
So-
It does. I mean, and you've kind of set the bar high for yourself as far as that goes too, right? You're like, I need the equipment, I need the things, and the rest of us are out here with like a 10-year-old cell phone and a fucking and a notebook going,
Well,
right?
'cause she
Like,
used to be a professional. She was
yes,
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah, I ran my ex-husband's YouTube channel, so
yeah, it's
for
really
me,
hard to
it's
come
like,
back
I
from
want
that.
all the
Right?
stuff.
Yeah, I get that. I totally understand that. So yeah. But,
So we'll see. I mean, if you would have caught me a week ago, I would have said, hell yeah, I mean, I already made the page. I actually did. I actually completely made the page for it. But
yeah.
now I just gotta come up with the subjects and figure out what to talk about.
Got you. Well, I'll tell you what, there's a lot of people that like, so something I say often, even if we take a low arbitrary number, like 10 people are affected by every single person that suffers an addiction, right?
Yeah.
What does that math out to, right? Millions and millions and millions of people. But only like if 10% of the people are actually suffering that are affected by it, 90% of the resources are going to them, including platforms and social medias and all of that stuff, right? So in my mind, and it's why our show puts so much effort into reaching out to families and loved ones, right? Because they need the support as much or more, you know? And even then, if you help a family to understand, if you help a wife to understand the reality or a husband understand the reality, you're helping that person too, right? Maybe not the way they want to be helped in the end, but who knows? But you know, the end, the user in the end is being helped by every single person that understands what's going on. So, right. But,
that's true. I did tell, member Sonia was on here last time. And I can tell her because she said that she has a lot of people that reach out to her, more the loved ones of the addicted. And I told her to have them reach me. I actually have had a few people reach out to me from that. And I've tried to talk them through some stuff, but no, I know. I understand that to get the message out there can actually help a lot of people. So
yeah, right. Sounds like your heart's in the right place. You'll figure out what to do, what's exactly right for you. Oh, look at that. She just looks over at him and she just gets like lovey. Look at that look. Look at it. Oh my, eh? Oh, he's kind of dreamy. I saw him in the background there. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
he's
pretty dreamy.
He is very handsome. He's very handsome.
I'm happy for you. Legitimately happy for you.
Yeah.
And I'm still here if things don't work out. I'm still here. Right? I'm just kidding.
All right.
Man.
I spread that flirting around with everybody. So don't feel personalized by it. Yes, yeah. Except Gary, I'm probably not going to flirt with you the same way. Sorry. You're pretty.
I hope not.
Next to these two, you got nothing. You got nothing, right? Hey, listen. Now that we've been live for a minute, we got 20 people paying attention. Guys, feel free at any point to drop a sober date, a hello, and where you're from. You don't have a sober date, you don't have a sober date. That's cool too. You know, of course, I'm not here to judge.
Jacob, happy Sunday to you. Danielle, what's up? We got some people here in the chat.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
Love that.
I think I stopped off at yeah. You got the last two in there. Of course, Casey from F Around and Recovery. He's one of my favorite people. 10 months clean for Danielle. Good for you, Danielle. Good for you. Right. Keep at it.
Yeah.
Get it.
Good for you.
Yeah. So why don't we introduce ourselves, I guess, to get started. I'm Chuck LaFlange, host of the Ashes to Awesome podcast. And then we'll make our way around to you there, Gary. I want to call you Shirley every time now for some reason. Okay. Hello, Hannah from Michigan.
Yeah,
July
Hannah.
15th, 2019. Good for you. Michael from Portland, Oregon. Next up, one of you ladies want to introduce yourself?
Hello, my name is Jamie, and I am a woman in recovery. Happy to be here.
And
hello, my name is Laura. I am a person who's been affected by a loved one's addiction. So I'm not in recovery myself, but had a loved one in addiction for a long time.
Fair enough, Faith. That's its own kind of struggle, trauma, and strife, to say the least.
Addiction is definitely a family disease, so it affects everyone.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
Absolutely.
Gary, tell us about you, my man. What's going on?
Where you want me to start at? I got a lot.
Well, let's just get a synopsis here. Who are you? What's going on in your life?
My name is Gary Shirey. I'm from Lincoln, Delaware, and I got the best cheesesteaks in Delaware.
It's a bold statement. Yeah. She just sits right up.
So
I agree. I drove all the way up to Philly, and they let me down. I don't know what everybody says Philly's got the cheesesteaks. Well, listen, Bub's Grubs got the cheesesteaks. My food truck got the best. I guarantee.
Stamp of confidence. Approval. Some confidence. I love it.
Food truck food is always good.
Absolutely.
Right. Jeez. I might start flirting with you yet here, Gary. I might start flirting with you yet because
food trucks are like, I don't know. It's like pick your poison. You got to know which one to play with. That's all.
Yeah. Fair enough. Eh?
I love Hannah's comment. Addiction is a disease for sure.
Very much is, Hannah. Very much is. You're gonna moderate the comments for us over here. I love that.
I don't know, maybe.
Yeah. Hey, yeah. I'm horrible at it, so please do. I feel like really like bad every time I miss them, and then so interrupt every time.
Yeah.
So you're in recovery too, right, my friend, Gary?
Yes. Yeah.
How long you been at the recovery game for, my friend?
Over 7 years. November 29th is my recovery day. I consider myself 7 years clean. I go from the last time I used, which was when I went to jail in 2016. I came home in 2018. So I say I got 7 years clean, 5 years or 2 years in, 5 years out. It's been a process, wasn't easy at all by any means. When I got busted in 2016 for selling and using heroin, my son got taken away from me. And that was a hard process to deal with. When I came home from jail in 2018, my son Dominic lived with the mother-in-law, my children's mother's mom, and she didn't allow me to see my son. Even when I came home from jail and I was clean, I was doing good, she wouldn't allow me to see my son. And it was very frustrating because fresh home from jail, I had that like light switch, like I was ready to snap, and especially over my child, like you're not allowing me to see my son. It was very difficult. In 2019, my daughter was born. And at that time, she was allowing me to see my son, but it was always on her terms. She used to use my son like a chess pawn, and it was very frustrating. State had stepped in. My children's mother had a relapse, and they had stepped in for me to get guardianship of my daughter when she was 5 months old. And once they signed that paper giving me guardianship of my daughter, I went straight to the courthouse and filed for my son. And I actually filed for both of them. At the time, I was working for another contractor. I was broke. Couldn't rub two. I mean, I have my paychecks coming in, but they had no money saved up. They told me that I would need a lawyer to go and fight for my children, and I said, I'm gonna represent myself. I don't have the funds to pay for a lawyer at the time, so why would I lie and act like I did? I said I would take care of it myself. I said I watched enough Law and Order. I think I would be okay. And I actually went. It was crazy. It was really crazy because in Delaware, like the court process, I'm so used to a criminal court process. Fight me in trial. Bring your evidence in trial. We'll go there. That's not how family court works in Delaware. In Delaware, you got to present everything to them that you want to present in trial. And if you don't present it to them, you can't use it in trial. So the lawyer is sending me papers asking me for this and that. And I'm basically like, fuck you. I'm not sending you nothing. You're going to have to see me in trial. It got to the point where the judge sent me a letter and was like, look, this isn't a criminal proceeding. You have to send this stuff to him, and you got to send it in 7 days. If not, they automatically win. So I went around, got everything together. I sent it to him, and then got my court date scheduled for this trial. The judge, she let me know that if I lost, if I lost that day in court, I would lose all rights to my son. And like I explained to her, I see my son on their terms now anyway. So what are you going to take from me? And we went to trial, and I wore his ass out in trial. I won that day, and I won placement over both of my children. I had placement over my son and my daughter. And
good for you. Good for you.
I just want to give people hope, man. I was a misguided youth, man. My dad went to jail for murder when I was 6 years old. You know, my brothers and my sisters, like, we all had to deal with that shit. I look just like my dad. My last name is Shirey, but my last name is supposed to be Ortiz. That's my dad's last name. My mom gave me her last name because my dad said that I wasn't his child when I was born. And that was
wow.
Yeah, I look just like him. If you seen that stupid motherfucker, you would know I look just like him. Twins, like, slap us next to each other. You can't say that I'm not his. Like, we look, literally somebody cropped his jail picture and my jail picture and put them next to each other, and you couldn't tell the difference of who was who. Like, it's that bad. And
so but that don't take from the trauma of something like that, right? Of believing that when you're a kid, or not even believing whether or not it's true, believing that he believes that is enough. Right? Like,
the crazy part is, I wanted to put him on his pedestal like he was a great man and he was my father and he didn't mean it. And I wanted to make excuses for why he killed that woman. But then as I grew up, see, the crazy part is I was connected in with her family through distant family. And so I actually seen this woman's grandchildren that are growing up without their grandmother because my dad killed her. You see what I'm saying? So that's where it kind of gets messed up, because I get treated differently because I look just like my dad. So they're like, you know what I mean? Your dad's the reason why my mom is no longer here. And it was really a tragic situation, but I kind of worked through it. Like, they say isolation is bad in recovery. And I think that's a double-edged sword. I think it may work for some people. It may not work for others. I learned to disconnect, to reconnect. I have to separate myself from everything that's going on around me so I can focus in on what I want to do.
Healthy detachment. That is healthy detachment, 100%, right?
Yeah. So I am a medical marijuana advocate. I know some people, they're against it. They have their own views and opinions. I don't knock anybody using however their recovery works for them. My thing was, I started smoking that damn K2, that synthetic weed shit, because I was smoking it. Yeah. I was thinking, well, in Delaware, it's like a synthetic weed. But it'll mess with your damn head. I started smoking, and it got to the point where I was withdrawing from not smoking it. You see what I'm saying? And I was like, do I really want to stay on this route? So I started smoking some weed. Probation officer was like, we're not going to lock you up for it. We're not worried about it. Just try not to let it lead to anything else. Well, the probation officer lied to me. Let's put it like that. When I went to court, are you good?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
So when I went to court, probation, I was getting ready to get off probation. She showed the judge that I had all these dirty urines for marijuana and violated me right when I was getting ready to get off of probation. And so I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, you the one that told me that I could smoke and it wasn't a problem. Now you're going to send me up for a violation. So I went in front of the judge and I told him, I said, listen, you might as well send me the hell back to jail and let me do my backup time, whatever, because I'm not going to keep doing this shit with y'all. And the judge was like, he looked at my record, he looked at me and he laughed and he said, man, I'm not going to lock you up over no weed. He said, just go about the proper steps to be able to smoke. So I went and got a medical card. And I smoked until I felt comfortable enough to stop. Like right now, I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't do anything. I'm still a legal medical patient, but I just chose to stop smoking because I was over smoking. Like as Casey said the other day on y'all's live, Casey was like, as an addict, you can abuse anything. And I was abusing the medical marijuana. I wasn't smoking to get high or to ease my pain. I was smoking because I was trying to forget the emotional trauma that I go through. And I was over smoking. So I chose to stop smoking altogether. And I used to work for a concrete contractor. I started my own business, Legendary Services LLC, and I saved up my money. I love to cook. I got a degree in culinary arts, and I had this food truck that I bought back in 2020. Had a blown engine and had messed up title work, but it had stainless steel interior, top to bottom. It was to me, it was a deal, and I wound up building my own food truck. So
That's awesome. Bub's Grubs, Bub's Grubs. So, and I speak to. There's a couple things I want to touch on there. I think first is the weed thing. It's not for me. It's never a problem for me. I used to use it quite a bit, but I never found it to be an issue. I choose to stay sober now because I really like being sober. Right? I just do. I'll tell you what though. The other day here in Thailand, it's legal now. And you heard me if you were on the live stream, we talked about this, but of course the ladies weren't, and some of the people that are watching weren't. So I'm in Thailand. It's legal here now. Like it's everywhere. You drive through the jungle and you can smell it. It's like, where's that even coming from? Right? Like, how is that possible? And I seriously considered it the other night. I was like, maybe. But then I was like, no, man, you want to use that because you're lonely. Don't do that. Right? Don't do that. That's the wrong fucking reason to start something like that. So I chose, I'm just stick with my sobriety. I'm loving sobriety. Right? So quit bouncing your knee there, Jamie.
Huh?
You're bouncing your knee when you're not looking at the camera and you're like bouncing.
I was trying to mute it because I was coughing. I'm sorry. I've been sick. I've been homesick for 5 days.
Oh, that sucks.
So I was trying to mute it while I was coughing. So Gary, I wanted to ask you, when did you have your first child?
When I was 19, I was strung out on heroin at the time. Actually, I was it was a rough one. I was still a child, I very much still a child, and strung out on my addiction at the same time. That was rough.
And you said you had a son?
Yeah, my son Dominic.
And what is his middle name? Dominic
William.
I have a son, Dominic James. That's why I was asking.
That's my boy, man. That's my baby right there. It was that was a very, very hard time in my life. Like I'm a little too brutally honest, and that's where some people's eyes pop because I don't hide from my past. There's nothing more that I hate than somebody that overcome addiction and then they hide from it. Or they become successful and they got money, so then they forget where they once were. That nothing grinds my gears more than that. Because I'm gonna tell you this, right? I know some successful business owners that used to sell me drugs when I was 14, 15, 16 years old. I was a kid, and they were selling me drugs at the time that could have killed me. And they didn't care. They only cared about the money. So now that they're successful business people, they don't even connect with me now with where I'm at today. And to me, that makes me feel some type of way because you didn't have a problem selling me drugs when I was strung out as a kid. You enabled to kill me. It was my own choice, but you was okay with doing that, but you're not okay with positively influencing me now. I came and built this food truck with a vengeance, not with arrogance, with showing people that you don't got to have money to make money. I didn't come from money, but money's going to come from me. My kids are going to have something.
I love that.
I love that. My food truck. I live with my mom. Let's get that clear. I live with my mom. I'm not successful and got my own space and all this.
Just the contrast there was hilarious for a second. And I live with my mom, right?
The reason why I put that out there is because there's so much stigmatism in this world. You got to have it all figured out. You got to have everything together. And that's bullshit. I live with my mom because I choose to, not because I have to. I got two children. I believe it takes a village to raise a child. My daughter, when I got my daughter at 5 months old, I was scared myself. I didn't know how to deal with things myself. I moved back into the same house that I used to sell heroin out of and get high and shoot dope. So when people say that people, places, and things, I'm not going to say they're wrong, but I'm going to say you choose whether you want to pick up or not. It's not about where you're at. It's not about who you're around. It's about you making that choice if you're going to pick up or not. My food truck outside, man, my food truck literally on the low end, equity value at $80,000. I got a 18-foot stainless steel kitchen. Everything in there is stainless steel. I got 11-foot hood vent system in the top. It's got the breaking chains of addiction symbol instilled in my logo and on the side of my truck. There's money sitting there. If I was worried about what other people thought, I would go sell my truck, build me another one, and go buy me a place. I'm not worried about what nobody thinks. It's my life, and I'm living my life. I try to influence people in a positive manner, man. That's all.
And having a well-rounded place for your children to live. Like, I mean, there's no shame in that. Like, you know, my children still live with my mom today. She lives 45 minutes away from me. My daughter has lived with her since she was born. She's 13 now, about to be 14. Yeah. My son is 19. You know what I mean? And I just go into their life. You know what I mean? I stayed in sober living for 3.5 years because that was the right thing to do for me. You know what I mean? I built a business in sober living. I went from being homeless to making 6 figures in sober living, right? But I wasn't going to uproot my children from their safe, well-rounded home. I will, you know, make the sacrifice to just fit in where I can fit in, where they are still happy and healthy, right? And that doesn't make me like a bad mom. Like every situation is different.
That sets you up for a great relationship with them. None of the resentments that come from being moved or uprooted and all of that, right? Like, I think that's fantastic that you're still a major part of their lives and chose to keep the situation the way it is, right?
I love the transparency, Jamie, and even for Gary, I love the transparency because that's so important when it comes to all of this. So, mad props to both of you.
So the other night, you guys were on a live with Casey, and I was talking about Andrew Hager live. Okay, Andrew Hager and Shonda Lynn. So the way I got connected with them was I see people's lives come up, and I jump on the live. And if they give you the option to call in, I pick up the phone and I call in. So I actually called Andrew on one of his lives and we got into a conversation. Well, after the live hung up, my phone started ringing. Andrew called me back. Now, mind you, Andrew's got over 700,000 followers on Facebook. I'm a nobody to him, the way I look at it. And he took the time to call my phone and connect with me. And I see that as a big problem with the platforms. Like certain individuals, they won't even take the time to talk to you unless you have X amount of followers or you got some type of buzz. They don't want to connect with you. And I think that's weird because you don't got to connect with me. But baby, you're going to wish you did one day because
I love this guy's fucking confidence. All right.
Andrew Hager actually called me. I was actually on my way out to Maryland to buy another box truck because I'm building me another food truck right now. Andrew called me and was like, look, I don't want to take up your time. I got Shonda Lynn right here with me right now. Are you interested in linking with Ian Bick? Me at the time, I didn't even know who Ian Bick was. Then I looked him up and I was like, yeah, absolutely. Well, he got me linked with Ian, and I drove all the way out to Connecticut and did a podcast interview on his show, Locked In. And I was nervous. I was like, man, I was like, it was the first time of me really jumping on to a podcast because I can talk. When I tell you I can talk, I got some shit. Like I can freely express myself without somebody else's opinion. I don't care what somebody thinks. You're going to listen to me or you're not going to listen to me. And if not, somebody's going to. So I'm going to affect somebody in a positive manner because I've been that lost, misguided child that is seeking love and attention in the streets in all the wrong ways. And that's what led me to the difficulties that I played in life. Bro, I got on Percocets when I was 13. I was smoking weed when I was 10. Went to Percocets at 13. Went from Percocets to coming home from a juvenile facility. I was 18 years old. I come home from this facility. The woman that I loved with all my heart was out fucking around with all my boys. So I turned around on a home pass and got some drugs. I got some heroin. I got some Percocets. Now, I didn't even know what heroin was at the time. I went to jail using Percocets. When I come on the home pass, they were like, look, here's some heroin right here. It's just like the perks. And me, I knew what it was, but I didn't know what it was. So I took some back with me. I was in a juvenile facility, so they couldn't strip search you. So I had it in my boxers underneath, and I took it back in the program with me. And when I took it in the program, I started getting high before I even got released. So everybody thought that I was coming home clean and sober, and I really wasn't. Like I come home already using, but I come home husky. Like I went in like a toothpick and come home all husky. Everybody's like, yeah, he's clean and doing good. But really I had already relapsed.
Yeah.
The same woman that I fell in love with, that happens to be my children's mother. All power to her. Like me and her got a good relationship. We got love-hate relationship because there's a lot of years behind that, a lot of trauma, a lot of anger, resentment. But for the most part, I wish nothing but the best for her. I want her to succeed. I want her to have her life because my children need both of us. They don't need one of us. They need both of us. My daughter, she's a little boy, so to say. Like that's my baby. She's been with me since she was 5 months old. So she handles herself like a man almost. Like not she's a princess, don't get me wrong, but she's a princess that'll throat punch you. Like, and she's only 4 years old. Like I'm telling you.
Independent.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I kind of like bounce all around when I talk sometimes. But when I come from this program, I was 18 years old. I had started on the heroin. It wasn't long before sniffing went to shooting heroin. When I started shooting heroin, they asked me how old I was when I had my son. I was 19 years old when my son was born, and I was in full blown addiction. I was shooting heroin in the bathroom at the hospital while my son was laying there in the hospital. My son was born addicted to methadone because my children's mother was on methadone. I was in the hospital shooting up heroin, nodding out with my child. That's how real it was. When I went to jail in 2016, 2017, the same dope boy that we used to deal with sold heroin to my brother and my uncle. My brother overdosed. They Narcaned him, brought my brother back. My uncle overdosed. They found him with a needle in his arm in the hotel room over in Maryland. On my food truck, there's a cheesesteak at the top of my list. It's called a Lenny Jack. The cheesesteak, and next to it, it has wings on the ends of the name. I dedicated that cheesesteak to my uncle because I lost him when I was in jail in 2017. And that hit different for me because he was the one that always made time for us kids. He was battling with an addiction, but he always made time for us. So when I lost him, he was 39 years old with 5 kids. And just knowing that I could never see my Uncle Lenny Jack no more, that kind of hit me a little different. So when I came home, when I said enough was enough, there's not a single one of y'all on this live that could pay me enough money to go get high. You could tell me I'll give you $1 million right now if you just go get high one more time. I tell you, you're fucking crazy because it's not even worth it for me. And in 2021, I was gonna say 2022. It was 22. My cousin died. I be losing track of time because I used to listen. Time just goes by so fast. On my neck is my cousin. He was 29 years old with a 6-month-old daughter. He was high up on heroin on his way home, flipped his car 5 times. I walked the accident site at 4:30 in the morning with his little brother, picking up his belongings from every time the car flipped, all his stuff flying out the car. I picked up his cell phone and his skull can out of his blood on the ground. I literally picked my cousin's cell phone up and had his blood on my hands from the accident site. Like it was that real and that traumatic. And I didn't go pick up and run and get high. The difference is when we're walking, picking up his stuff, there's the 3 dope bags on the ground that still had heroin in them. Yeah. I picked them up. I looked at my little cousin. He looked at me, and I just dropped to my knees. I started crying. But the realization is my family hid behind the fact that my cousin was struggling using heroin. And that's how real it is. You need to bring awareness to it. You hiding from it is not fixing the problem. Just because you say that this ain't happened and that ain't happened, baby, I picked up the heroin bags off the ground. You're not gonna fucking tell me what happened. I was there. I lived it. Like, I speak with assertiveness because I don't believe in a baby and an addict or enabling an addict. An addict is not going to get clean until they're ready. I don't care what anybody says. They have to be ready. I would never have stopped using until I was ready. Enough had to be enough.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's as simple as that.
Yeah, right. That's it. You got a crazy thing there, man. That's a lot of tragedy. Go ahead, please. Yeah.
I just wanted to say, Mallory had said, talking about Jamie's story about the fact that her kids live with her mom. It's just so selfless of her to, choose to let them have that stability. And then Hannah had said that I think Jamie is very selfless, making the choice that what's best for her babies. That is making living amends. And
yeah,
I mean, that's some real stuff right there.
True story. Are you able to show comments, or is that just me that can do that?
I think
like
it's
if you highlight over top of it. It's probably just me, eh? Yeah. Okay.
You do
kind of and I think okay, for real, Gary, like that event that you just spoke about was so traumatic. Like, me and Chuck was talking about this earlier. We were talking about it with Jared, and then I started talking about it with Chuck. Like, the things that we have been through are so traumatic. And to us, we're just like, yeah, that was like a Tuesday night. Remember when we did this and we did this and we did this? We don't carry the validity and like the heaviness of like, man, that is trauma of picking up your family's belongings and their blood and the bags of heroin. I mean, that is major, major, major trauma. I mean, that is seriously intense. And I was listening to Chuck, you had sent me the podcast of Mike
Miller
Lisa
from the Yacha Center. Yeah.
Yes, and they were talking about trauma and how it's stored in the brain and the different ways of looking at it. So I hope that you are, being diligent in like not just sweeping that trauma under the rug, but actually being able to like look at that and heal from it, because it is that is a big deal to us. We're like, oh yeah, that's just normal because this is the life we live, right? But it's not. It's not normal.
It's really not, right? Yeah, no. And you know what? I should be mentioning some sponsors here as we're going anyway. And Yacha Center is one of my sponsors. Mike Miller was that episode. Go back and check that out, guys. It's episode 207. I just released it yesterday, the Weekend Ramble. Jamie, I'm glad that you got a chance to check it out. Isn't Mike something else, eh? Mike at the Yacha.
Yes.
I just completed a 30-day stay at his trauma treatment center here in Thailand. And what it's done for me is I can't even put it into words, right? EMDR therapy, internal family systems therapy, CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, yoga, Tai Chi, mindfulness, ice baths, meditation. Fuck it, just the list goes on. And you'd be surprised if you're stable in your recovery and you want to check it out or you're interested in it, to check them out at yachacenter.com. You might be surprised at how affordable it is relative to other options in North America. So check them out, guys. Right? Yeah, it's an amazing thing.
Real quick, Lloyd just said, question for the panel. So for you three, have you guys ever experienced survivor's guilt?
In a way, geez, these days more than ever. When I can tell you a quick story about that. Just before I left for Thailand, I had a year clean. I was a year and 10 days when I left. So a year and 8 days clean. This is high risk behavior. I don't recommend this. I'd gone from where I was living in Calgary back to the Regina area, which is where Chantel from Trap House Testimonies, myself, where we did all of our bad things. And I went to hang out with some of the people that were still in it a year into being sober. And here I am with those people. But I really wanted to connect on my way out the door. And I was confident in my own sobriety and recovery. So I go and I connect, and I spend some time with a friend of mine. We call her Jessica, but it's just a handle that she uses as a sex worker. And I experienced her lifer a day and a half, 2 days, where she gets up in the morning. Usually her dope has been smoked or it's been stolen or both, whatever. She has to grind to get enough money to post up on the internet to put an escort ad out. And she's dope sick while she's doing it. Then she has to go sleep with a stranger while she's dope sick to get enough money to get her fixed so she can get better just to start dealing with the day. So every single day, this woman who I love, and when we first met, we were both just fucking around with coke. It was a recreational thing, we told ourselves, right? And this is where her disease has gotten her to. Hardcore fentanyl addiction. Every single day she has to climb a mountain to get her mountain climbing gear just to get started, right? Like that's her life. So how the hell do you come out of that? And I'm sitting in Thailand at this recovery place, which is opulence, right? The Yatra Center it's opulence. Like it's crazy luxury place to be. I'm so fortunate I was offered a scholarship to go. And I'm thinking, how does she get to where I am? It's almost impossible for her, right? Like how do we make that happen? How do we get all those people that are still fucking suffering to a place where I am? And that is survivor's guilt, right? 100%. And the answer to that is you can't make them, but doing what we're doing is the best thing I've got to offer, right? You know, so there's your survivor's guilt. Right? I hope that answered the question. What about yourself, Jamie? You got survivor's guilt?
I mean, all the time, you know, so many of my friends have passed away, and, you know, I've been doing this thing for coming up on 8.5 years, and all the friends that have died. And it's like, what was it that made it click in my brain that it didn't click in theirs? You know what I mean? It just like it's just heartbreaking, you know?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Gary, survivor's guilt?
Yes. Like Jamie said, it's heartbreaking because you want something more for them than they want for themselves. I seen a video that said, you got to love someone in active addiction the same way you love them without them dependent on the drugs. And I'm not going to lie, that's a hard one for me because in the same boat, I feel like that enables them. Laura, you say you've never had a drug problem, right? You just
No.
Okay. So you would relate a lot. I wish you could talk to my mom because that's where me and my mom butt heads so much because my mom has never been on drugs. My mom just seen what they do to everybody. So my mom is the worst enabler in the world. She don't intentionally mean it. She means it. She don't mean harm, but she don't understand that as an addict, you are greatest at manipulation and you'll do whatever that you got to do. You'll say whatever you got to say to get that money, to get that next fix. So since I've been clean now, I had to live with my cousin. My cousin lived at my mom's. He was actively using, and it was hard because I wanted to whoop his ass. But he's older than me. He like 5 years older than me. But I couldn't find myself to physically hurt him because I understood where he was at. But at the same time, I wouldn't be my mom and enable him with the choices that he was making. Because I tell him about himself. Like I see him as he is not on drugs. Like I see his potential within himself. So seeing him succumb to them drugs, it just, like Jamie said, like what is clicking in my head that can't click in yours? Because man, this boy is like a natural born athlete. Like I'm talking about 8-pack abs and he don't even got to work out. He just naturally like that. And when the drugs had him, man, they was taking him a run for his money. And me and my mom would butt heads a lot because my mom can't understand it. So she want to help him, but really you're giving him the money to get high. You're enabling him to go get high. If you allow an addict to comfortably get high in your presence, they're going to see it as if they're not in the wrong, like if they're not okay. So me being clean, I take it upon myself to not allow you to be in my presence, nodding out, hide up. That's not okay, because I hold myself to this standard up here because this is what I expect, and I don't allow you to be anything less around me. Now, if you're clean in recovery or just starting in recovery, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I can't allow you to shoot heroin in the room with me when I'm clean. Now, it's not going to make me get high. I know some people, they say that they can't see it, they can't be around it. I guess I've overcome them parts of the treatment or whatever, or the years. Like if you're getting high and I know, it doesn't bother me that I know you're shooting dope in the bathroom, it's not going to make me want to get high. But I just don't want you blatantly doing it in my presence like it's okay.
Yeah. Well, and it's not okay if, because it's not, right. And I'm with you, Gary, on the trigger thing. I feel like I have to respect everybody's opinions and views on triggers, because who the fuck am I to not? For me personally, life is a trigger. If I'm going to get triggered every time I see somebody smoking a joint or doing something or having a whatever, it's going to be a long recovery for me. So I just kind of like, no, I'm not going to do the trigger thing for myself, but I have to respect it about other people. So I agree with you on that. Trying to understand people and what they're going through, right? Seek to understand, not to be understood, right? That means something. It really does. And allowing it to be in my presence, I'm okay with it, but it's not okay. Like only because it's an opportunity to connect, I guess. That said, that's high risk behavior, and I don't know that I would go back and do the same thing, because after 2 days it was like, okay, time to get the fuck out of here. I'm going to Thailand. Right?
Real quick, Gary, I just want to touch on your mom. Naranon is what actually saved my life and helped me to not become an enabler anymore. I try to put it in the comments in the live chat, but it's not letting me post.
Okay.
Naranon. So just like you have NA, it's Narcotics Anonymous. You have
Al-Anon. It's called Al-Anon over here.
Well, there's two.
Al-Anon.
Yeah, there's Al-Anon and Nar-Anon, or AA, right?
There's actually three. Yep. There's Al-Anon for AA. There's Nar-Anon for NA, and then there's Naratine. And there's four: Naratine and Alateen for the teenagers of parents or loved ones who are going through addiction. But I highly suggest people look up a Naranon meeting. Your mom, that will help her a lot with enabling. I went through that program for 6 years. We work the same program as you guys do, except our first step is that we have no control over the addict. Yeah. Just like you have no control over the drug. And that program probably saved my life, to be honest with you, because just like we talked about earlier and how addiction is a family disease, there were mornings where I woke up, not that I ever wanted to not be here anymore, but there were mornings and days where I didn't care if something had happened to me. It affected my life that much. Trying to save someone that I couldn't save, So Naranon for your mom, for sure. And if she doesn't have a Naranon meeting that's around, then Al-Anon. It's not going to be the same, but it'll still be helpful.
I think that's a thing that we need to highlight. Like, I feel like social media always paints the great things in people's lives, and everybody likes to act like life is so perfect when it's not. Life really, like Chuck said, life is a trigger in itself, and it kicks your ass. Like, it's not. There's days I wake up and I don't want to go out of my food truck. I don't want to go out and do the things that I'm supposed to do, but I have to remind myself, like, what am I doing this for?
Right. I just want to say thank you. Ashes to Awesome just posted the website for
Ashes to Awesome, by the way. That's me.
Is there any way that we can pin that in the chat somewhere? Because
I don't know how, but I will definitely add it. You know what, guys? If you come to the Facebook to my personal page, or the Ashes to Awesome page,
we did Al-Anon as well. You have to figure for every addict or alcoholic That's a person, right? One person. Imagine how many family members are struggling because of their loved one's addiction. You're talking about mom, dad, kids.
10 for sure, right? 10 for sure.
The crazy thing is how much judgment is cast upon you from where you may be at in life. Like, a lot of people didn't see me being where I'm at today with my food truck. Like, I don't worry about the followers and how many followers you got on there. That's irrelevant. I believe in the impact and what are you really doing outside. Same with like church-based stuff. Everybody's like, oh, go to church and be in church and that's fine. But what are you doing outside of church? How are you really positively impacting? In the month of November, I fed 1,000 kids with my food truck for free. Nobody sponsored me. Nobody paid me. Nothing. I just took my hard-earned money. I went and bought product from my distributor, and I went and fed 1,000 kids. And then on Christmas Day, me and my children's mother, we split Christmas. That afternoon, after my kids left, I took the truck and I went and I fed the homeless people on Christmas Day. On Christmas, you get a hot cheesesteak. I mean, come on now, like that.
Tell you what, I'd have killed for a hot cheesesteak on Christmas Day here because I had rice and pork. Right?
I love rice and pork though. The carne frita. My grandfather, he's 83 years old, man. He's from Puerto Rico. He never had a drug addiction to opioids or anything like that. He used to drink, but he tells me all the time that money is the root of all evil because money it'll break families up. It'll make people act so different. I was just hanging out with him today. He made me some red rice with some olives and some sausage, and he knows how to cook. But I really love the time that I get with my grandfather because tomorrow is never promised. Everybody always thinks I got tomorrow. I can go see him next week. I can go this next week. Sometimes don't come. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What are you going to do when you end up dead or they end up dead and you guys didn't see each other? Like, God forbid the day when my grandfather is no longer here, my family's going to hate me because I'm going to be that person in the funeral home telling them, yo, y'all didn't even go see the man. He's lived in the same place for 35 years. A lot of people don't even go see him. And that really is crazy.
I'm going to interrupt you, Gary, only so that we can get to the comments here. I've kind of figured you out. We got to interrupt you sometimes because you can go on a bit of a tangent. I love that about you, but I hope you don't take offense, right?
Nah, I can talk a lot.
Yeah, you can. Love it. Hey, listen, Lloyd Daly. Question for the panel: are we losing the war on drugs? So, yeah, I think the war on drugs is, and not to say that what you're saying is ridiculous, Lloyd. I think the war on drugs is a ridiculous mindset. The war on drugs hasn't worked, right? Drug votes, no more drug war, right? There you go. It's a ridiculous mindset to have that there is a war on drugs. It's a war on suffering. It's a war on our own demons. It's a war on people being not on being sick. Mm-hmm. It's a war on trauma. We need to address those things, right? If we can address those things, that's how we win, right? The war on drugs hasn't worked. It hasn't worked since Nixon and Reagan. Right? Why is it going to start working now? You got some shit to say on that, JB. Let's jump into your thoughts. Yeah.
I do. I mean, it's just, what did it do? All it did was put people in jail who had addictions. Like, people who had the disease of addiction got put in jail. Tax, you know what I mean? It paid the government, splost money. They made parks. Wow, awesome. It did nothing for humanity, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, it didn't do anything for the people. So yeah, the war is not like on drugs. Like, the war is like on like the solution and helping people and empowering people and recovery capital and services and care and compassion. Yeah, it's just totally different mindset.
True story, right? Hey, Hannah Hannah says, I feel like everyone I know has been impacted by addiction, either the user or family, friends of someone that's using. You're right, Hannah. You're right. If somebody tells me they don't know anybody, it's like, well, you do. You just don't know that you know somebody. Because that's the reality. That is the reality, right? You know, yeah, it's unfortunate, and it's so many people. And I think what's important to remember is all these people that we lose to overdose and suicides as a result of car accidents as a result, all the people that we lose to addiction are so much more than a statistic or how they pass, right? Each and every one of these people is somebody that loves and that's loved. And if we can keep that in mind, if the muggles of the world, the normies of the world that aren't involved in this issue could really understand that, I feel like we'd get a lot more of them on board, right? You know, so yeah, right. Anyway, Janet Burns says, love of money is the root of all evil, right? Janet is Casey at F Around and Recover's cousin. So, yes. Welcome again to the live stream, Janet. Sorry, Mike, I see you in the comments there. I think it's a different topic, and I'm really sorry that you're going through these things. This isn't really the platform for it, or this particular moment isn't on this platform. Maybe it's a better way to say that. I'm really sorry that you're going through whatever it is that you're going through, man. And the reason that we haven't been posting the comments is it's just kind of not related to what we're dealing with right now. So I hope you can find some comfort in that too. Please tell me if I worded that wrong. Okay. Hannah, again, it's generational too. My mama, married, divorced, and alcoholic, had a daughter that was an IV opioid user and meth addict. She in turn was addicted to our use. Codependency is a hard tie to break. I'll tell you what, there is CODA groups, Codependency Anonymous, and they are a powerful place to be for people that, for the same people that would go to Al-Anon or R-Anon, people that suffer an addiction as well are quite often codependent. I was exposed to that 12-step in detox, and it's a wonderful place for people to go and find some support and resources. Right? So, yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm really excited. I have Brianna coming on. You know, Jared's Brianna.
She's got a great story. Hey, she
yes.
does.
And we are just going to go through language and like humanizing people through addiction, the war on drugs, and the political racism that it really just brought. And you know what I mean? Like the whole point of it was just whatever.
It was racist. And, it was absolutely, it was, right? Yeah. I'll tell you, Brianna's so insightful. She said something on our last live stream. Maybe it was the one before last. I don't remember. Anyway, she was talking about when somebody's in early recovery, white knuckling it. And actually, you might really like this one as an idea for yourself to help some people out there, Gary. She said, you know, you can have somebody over for supper, but have somebody come over and make supper. Give them an activity, spend some quality time with them, do something productive with them, right? And it was like, oh, I love that. I just love that. That, you know, during COVID, her and friends would go out and buy the same ingredients, get together on a video chat, and make supper together, right?
Yeah.
And I just thought that mentality, and so maybe not that specifically if cooking's not your thing, but that mentality, do something together, right? And if you want to help somebody that's in recovery, hell yeah, right? You know, yeah. Gary, what are you about to say?
Of addiction.
Yes, true story. Gary?
No, I was just gonna say, like, I relate with how she's saying, like, when my mom married, divorced, and alcoholic, like I used to smoke crack with my stepdad, like literally used to get high in the trap house with him, and that's my mom's husband. So like that's a rough subject because they still together. So it's like it's going back to what I said, like the whole people, places, and things. It may relate to some people, but the way I look at it is you just got to be done. And when you hit that stone, when the block in the wall where you said, yo, enough is enough, you'll make the right choices to realize that nobody can make you go back to getting high. Like, it's just, when I take it out of my dictionary, it's just not there. I tried like Jamie was like, am I working through things trauma wise and stuff like that? Like I got a good counselor that I've been connected with since I've been home from jail. She's a great lady, but the program that she used to go to, they wanted me to do active groups with people that were still using, and that was, I had to draw my line there because I got to think about my recovery in the same sense,
Yeah,
and I can't be around active users because I'm not gonna enable your bullshit. I'm like in Delaware. They'll dose you in the morning. You go get dosed in the morning, and you go get high in the evening, and then you go back the next day, and you can get dosed again. So it's like, where is the help coming in if people can actively use, but still go get the substance to keep them from being dope sick, so they can go get high again? Like that's where it's, to me, it's like a revolving circle that just keeps going around.
That's a form of harm reduction, and I go back and forth a lot on that one, to be honest with you, Gary. Right? If it keeps that person alive, maybe it's not so bad, right? You know, and it maybe that the thing about harm reduction, about any form of harm reduction, is it creates connection. It creates connection with people that don't otherwise have it. And maybe today's not the day they're ready to sober up, but that connection when they are ready to sober up is everything. Right. And so maybe it puts them in touch with resources they didn't know were around. It puts them, you know, so it's tough. It's tough. That's a, you know, that's my mindset on it.
The drugs aren't the drugs. Like now they got this, I don't know how it is over there where you guys are from in Delaware. They putting that horse tranquilizer and shit in there now, and
xylazine, and that's why it's harm reduction, bro. That's why it's harm reduction, because at least it's a clean supply that way, right? You know, and they're not going to overdose on some toxic drug supply, right? And if it keeps them alive, it keeps them alive, you know. So yeah. Jamie, where are you at with that? Yeah.
I mean, you know, my only comment on that is that dead people can't recover, you know, so it's like if you are, you know, decided to sniff instead of inject today, I'm proud of you. You know, if you decided to go to the methadone clinic today instead of, you know, shooting up, I'm proud of you. You know, like whatever steps you make, at least you're doing something, you know what I mean? At least you're reducing the harm of like dying, because, you know, dead people can't recover. So that's just, you know, just learning to like love people where they're at and love people and humanize people like exactly where they are, you know, like allowing them to know like, hey, you're worthy of using a clean needle and not getting hepatitis C today, you know. You're worthy of not contracting AIDS today. Here's some condoms, you know. Do what you gotta do, but do it safe, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah My journey into that way of thinking, Jamie, has been throughout the course of the podcast. So I'll say I was abstinence only, and the more I get exposed to the more people and more ideas, and the more open my mind has become to that. And I'll go back to it. If nothing else, it's connection, and the opposite of addiction is connection, right? So it's
Absolutely.
tough.
Yeah. Say Mario, it's called Naranon. That is probably a place where you could find some better information.
I put the website up in the comments, sir.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah. If you scroll up a bit in the comments, it's got the websites for Naranon and Al-Anon. It's two separate ones there at
he tried
832 and 833.
It wasn't working. So Naranon's it hits different. I've been to both, and when I went into Al-Anon, I sat down and I was like, these people have no idea what the fuck I'm going through. I had to go to Naranon. Like it was just a different
I couldn't do AA meetings for the same reason, right? For the exact same reason.
You can't even compare the two.
No, you can't.
And I want to say too that I definitely agree with Matt, Hannah. just like you guys were saying earlier, I believe medically assisted treatment for addicts, like you said, Jamie, as well. If you took methadone and didn't put a needle in your arm that day, you know, whatever it may be, it saves lives.
It's a win. It's a win. Yeah. Yeah. Without a doubt.
Should be no judgment there for that.
Yeah. And look, the way that I got turned on to this idea, I'll tell you, was not like, I was not for it. Okay. I was abstinent space. I was a 12-stepper all the way. And my baby daddy, who I hated, okay, was on Suboxone. And I was like, this motherfucker, he just gets to go get high and take these drugs and do all this shit. He don't got to go to meetings and he don't got to go. You know what I'm saying? Of course, who would I want to hate on more than my baby daddy, right? Everybody can relate, okay? But here's what I saw. Bro, you're going to work every day. You're paying your child support. You're being a dad. You've got your own apartment. You're paying your bills. What? You know what I'm saying? Like, and you're on Suboxone. Like, so what could I say, right? It was like a slap in the face. Like, I couldn't say nothing. I was like, damn. All right. Well, if the dude that I hate the most, you know what I'm saying, in the whole world, right?
If you're running out of resentments there, then yeah. Right?
You know, like, and look at what he's doing. He's, you know, he's doing what he's supposed to do. So that was what changed my perspective of it, honestly.
Fair enough. Yeah. Fair enough. Yep. Mario says, I was an addict for 40 years and I got clean because my son turned into an addict. Now here I am going to NA to become an enabler. NA yet became enabler to my son's addiction and went to Al-Anon. I never could figure out where to be as both fit my situation. And I couldn't figure out the path. I stayed clean and my son got 20 years. So I carry the pain for us both.
Yep.
Oof. Sorry to hear that, Mario. Right. 20 years. Right.
That's rough.
Yeah. Right.
I think I bet like dealing with that. Like my dad went to jail in 2001. So in 2001, the world was a lot different in 2001 than it is right now. So when me and him talk on the phone, I don't speak to him no more right now. Like we bumped our heads and we kind of went our separate ways. But it was a tough thing because you're trying to explain to me to relate with life from 2001, and we're not in 2001 no more. The world is so farther advanced. It's crazy, like crazy, scary and crazy.
Yeah, it is. Hannah, you've got kind of a whole thing going on, so I'm having a hard time kind of catching up to where you were, because your stories come out and comment in kind of chunks, so I'm kind of having a hard time. That's why I haven't been posting it. Maybe if you want to kind of condense that into one comment for me, I'll most certainly post that for you.
I think what she's trying to say is that whoever it was in her life, I don't know if it was her daughter or mom or something, but Matt actually saved their life.
Yeah.
So there's that.
I'm going to post up Lloyd's comment here next. Lloyd, Matt is only successful if you have a tapering off period. Other than that's just enabling or substituting one drug for another. I got to say, I disagree with that. If somebody goes to their entire life on Suboxone or methadone and does all the things that Jamie was just talking about, and their life is better and they're being productive, then can go your entire life on Suboxone.
Yes, 1,000%.
If you're not putting a needle in your arm and you're being a healthy member of society, and even if it's only better than what it was, and whatever that means to you, to me, that's a win. And who are we to judge anybody else's experience or recovery? So I got to say, I disagree with you on that one, Lloyd. Yeah.
Well, that's just like with medical marijuana. Like a lot of people cast judgment upon using medical marijuana, but then you got, I just seen it they got it over in Utah with Quinn, the men's recovery or tribal recovery house, men's tribal recovery house. And it is recovery based upon medical marijuana. And I even shared their stuff on my page because I agree with that 100%. Like weed worked for me. It may not work for somebody else. Weed may trigger somebody else to go deeper in addiction. And to me, it doesn't. Like the weed kept me from murdering somebody and going to fuck to jail. So it helped me.
Yeah, right. Yeah, absolutely, Ken.
Everybody's
And
different.
yeah, they are, right? I think
Now,
Yeah.
I do want to say though, real quick, with the mat, the only thing that I have seen with my ex-husband was with the Suboxone. You can either get it in a film or a pill, and I've also seen someone abuse Suboxone because
Absolutely.
he started snorting his Suboxone, and
Yeah.
then it got out of control at one point where that wasn't even enough. So you also have to be careful, but you know that's also a person who every drug was their drug. It wasn't even just opiates. But other than that, if people take it responsibly, go to the doctor. Again, I don't agree with tapering. You don't have to come off of that. If you're going to live a productive life and do everything right, take it for the rest of your life. That's fine. Even if it is medical
who are
marijuana.
any of us to judge somebody else's shit, right?
Yeah.
You know?
But if you're abusing your mat treatment, then you probably need something else. Like whether
maybe like a shot form or something different.
The Vivitrol, so you know it's regulated, or maybe go back to rehab or something, because then you're just it's that obsessive compulsiveness that
it's
you just
about it is
self-soothing behavior.
And that is what is the definition of addiction? Is continued use despite negative consequences. That is addiction. So when you are in the cycle of addiction, you are continually doing these things despite negative consequences. So if you are having positive, we call it good fruit. If you're making good fruit, right, there's no negative consequences there. So it's like, keep going, Yeah.
When I first came home, I tuned in with NA and used to go to the groups and meetings and all that stuff. I had stopped going to NA because of the literature that they make you read in the beginning that says weed is a drug. And I was actively on a medical marijuana program. So to me, I felt targeted every time I'm in this room for the comfort of myself. I got this literature that says weed is a drug, but there's no literature stating that any other MAT assistance is a drug. So you can have the man next to you on a high dose of methadone, nodding out in the meeting, but you're on medical marijuana and they're telling you that weed is a drug. Weed is the same amount of drug. Exactly. Weed is the same drug as methadone and Suboxone is, if you're talking about drug categories. But
prescription.
Again, I mean, who are you to judge how somebody chooses to recover? So me, I stopped going to NA groups, but some people need that. Like I'm not against people that need 12 steps to get through life, but it wasn't a necessity for me. And you can't say that I didn't get through my life in a successful manner. Like I was telling Chuck, I built a fucking food truck off of YouTube videos, watching YouTube, like literally.
I think that speaks to something I've said 1,000 times to say 1,000 more times. If all the addicts in the world sobered up at the same time, the rest of y'all would be fucked, because you'd all be working for us, right? You could take a YouTube video and build a food truck. You could, like, seriously, in 2 weeks, world hunger, world peace, climate change. We know where the socks were in the fucking dryer, all of it in 2 weeks, because that's all nonsense compared to what it's like to have to hustle and survive on the street and feed a $200 a day habit or whatever it is, right? Right. So, and you're a great example of that, Gary, right? Go ahead.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Hannah put her stuff. There you go.
All right. I apologize for my scattered comments. My sister was an IV user and she used MAT to stop using. It saved her life. She is no longer on MAT. I find comfort that it's there if she ever needs to keep a needle out of her arm. I agree that clinics can have very lenient rules, making it very easy to abuse. I also know people who haven't abused MAT as well. We can't let the people sincerely trying to break chains suffer by those that are still chasing the high. Very well said, Hannah. Very well said. Yep. You are loved for that comment.
Yes.
100%. Yeah.
I got a needle in my arm still, like literally, like.
Oh yeah. Is that a pin?
It broke off in my arm when I was shooting heroin, and I went to the hospital and they told me they would do more damage trying to take it out than if they just left it in there. But
Really?
yeah, it's crazy. Like it's still there. Like I can feel it. It's
That's a
weird.
hell of a miss. Oof.
I know.
It was up here. It went in up here, but now it's down here. It's crazy. But it's rough, man. But I try to give people hope because, like Hannah said, breaking chains, like that is a wordplay that I stand behind with my food truck. Like they got the little ribbon with the breaking chain symbol on the ribbon, and that's in my logo. It's on the side door of my truck in my logo, but it's actually 2 big logos printed out on each side of my food truck because I want to show people that it's not about what you go through, it's what you grow through. And if you got dedication, discipline, and motivation, you can get there. Not every day is going to be a good day. Not every day you're going to feel motivated to go and do something. But guess what? Not every day people want to live, but they got to get up and live because there's somebody out there that's dying. Somebody out there that's die every 11 minutes from overdosing. I know somebody that just died yesterday. And it's really
Isn't that messed
real.
up, man? You know, isn't that messed up? Yeah. To put things in perspective, Sandy Snodgrass, who, Bruce's Law, if you're aware of what that is, that in your guys in the U.S., Bruce's Law is something that's in front of Senate or whatever. Sandy lost her son to an overdose. She's in Alaska. She says a 747 falls out of the sky every single day in North America. That's how many people die every single day. What the fuck are we doing about it?
Yeah.
Right. As a society, what are we doing about it? We are doing right now by doing this live stream. We're doing more about it than our government is. Really. Right.
Well, look at what the government did. The government, they put opioids out there. They had Percocets everywhere. Everybody, it was like pill mills. You could go get Percocets everywhere. And then they took the Percocets off, and it's so hard to get. 9 times out of 10, you find a Percocet out there. It's pressed fentanyl. And
you can't trust anything that's not in a prescription bottle anymore. Yeah.
Exactly, but the thing is, they flooded the streets with Percocets, and then they took them out, and then they put Suboxone and methadone forcefully out there in these clinics. So it's almost like we took away what you were getting high on. Now we're going to give you something else, and the state makes money off of that shit. Boy, the state's getting paid.
Yeah. Well, the individual politicians are. Unfortunately, it's actually a cost to our system with addiction and that, right? With the money that goes with addiction, right?
I actually know, interesting. I know a doctor who owns a pharmacy who happens to be giving out the pill form of Suboxone to inmates as soon as they get out, which is helpful, you know. And they have so that is something that the state and the Council on Substance Abuse is doing for inmates as soon as they get out of jail, to be able to put them on, you know, because there is also a lot of drugs in the prisons, you know, so as soon as they get out, they're on that medication.
Do they got methadone and stuff in your programs there? Like in your prison and your guys' prisons, do they give y'all methadone and Suboxone in there?
In Canada, if you have a subscription when you are arrested, yes. If you don't, no. You get put on the medical unit and given some Advil and whatever, but they won't give you a prescription for anything, right? So
that's how it was. That's how it used to be here. Like when I went to jail, you didn't get shit. They put you in a cell. They gave you some, like you said, some vitamins, some stuff that they said helped ease the withdrawal, and they basically left you in there to fucking die or whatever. Now they give you Suboxone in the jail. You go to the jail and they'll give you Suboxone. So it's almost like
we're coming. It's progress. It's progress.
I mean, they do the same thing in rehab. A lot of rehab or a lot of the detox centers. I remember every time my ex-husband had to go, he'd be like, I need $50 for the Suboxone.
Yeah.
So they do it there too.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So Brianna says, oh, hey, hi, hello. This is Brianna from Blacklist Podcast. How you doing? We were just talking about you, Brianna. It was mostly good, except for what Jamie had to say. That was kind of raunchy, but just kidding. We were talking good things about you, my darling. Yes. Who's this now? Mario again. In Hawaii, you get subs only if you were on when you fell. Yeah. Hey, get lost. Sorry, my dog digging in the garbage. You trying to tell me something, buddy? Yeah. Almost time to go for another sidecar ride with him here. Yeah. Did you see that reel on there, Jamie?
What, the sidecar reel? Yes, I did.
Yeah. Hey. Yeah. So, yeah, I've got my dog a sidecar, so we're cruising around Thailand together. Yeah.
I'm debating whether or not to say this, but so my ex-husband,
you gotta say it.
Who I left 2 years ago.
Yeah.
He was recently in a really, really bad motorcycle accident. He's basically amputated on his left leg. He got a titanium rod holding his ankle and his knee together. This happened back in July. And then after having the accident, he had to go to jail because he had some charges and he was in there for 3 months. When he was in the hospital, he was hitting that button every 3 minutes. But when he got out, he asked for no pain pill prescriptions, which I was very proud of him for. But I recently contacted him because I've always kept tabs on him to see how he's doing. You know what I mean? And this is my loved one that I'm talking about. So that I was with for 6 years. And I mean, I'll always love him. I care for him. I don't want anything bad to happen to him. But he's still fighting for his left leg. And so when I reached out and talked to him and I met up with him, he was sober. And he said that he didn't take any pain pill prescriptions, like nothing from the hospital, whatever. But a few days later of him being in my care and me trying to help him out, I found out that he had Suboxone. And he was nodding out, doing the weirdest things again. And I'm like, you got to go. So that's the hard thing about those types of things is that, and then he was throwing up like crazy. And I'm like, is it that he hasn't had it for so long? Because when he was in jail for those 3 months and he got those 120 days sober, was it so much out of his system at that point that then even the Suboxone is making him sick? And he'd show me like these little slivers that he would take. So now at this point, he can't, when I talked earlier about someone who can take the pill and crush it and snort it, he had strips. And he was only showing me these little slivers. And I'm like, how is that making him be that fucked up? Like, I mean, I'm talking knotted out, like he's back on pain pills. And I just couldn't deal with it anymore. So it's really, I know the struggle is real. I can't imagine the type of pain that he's in. And I admire him for not wanting to get a pain pill prescription because he knew that he'd be fucked at that point if he ever let himself do that. There's no way he would stop. But then, like we talk about Matt, right? And how I 100% support Matt. But Suboxone is Matt. And then I'm watching him literally not out in the car and in my apartment. And I'm like, you look just like you were when you were fucked up on drugs. So that's like a hard, I don't even know what my point was in bringing that up, but it's just like, it's a hard thing to, because I think Gary said that it can still like fuck you up sometimes when you're on even the Matt system. So I literally just experienced this in the last few days. Like I actually literally just kicked him out as a crippled getting on disability, can't even walk, using a walker because I can't see it. I already did it for 6 years. I can't do it anymore. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I have an 8-month-old baby now with my baby daddy. I can't have my baby around it. You can't be in my vanity room, nodded out, asleep, slumped over in a chair, doing weird ass shit, taking all my shit apart, which more is like a meth thing. So I'm not really sure what's going on, but it just sucks that, he did some weird ass shit, but it just sucks that then I didn't realize that then the Suboxone was that strong. Could it actually make you, because I swear someone just said that it can still make you fucked up.
Yeah, it can. Yeah, for sure it can. Right.
Yeah, and that's hard to see because then it's like now, it kind of makes you like, well, is this good? Not good? But are you abusing it?
Yeah. It's a tricky road, and everybody's individual and all the things, right? All the things.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, guys, we've been at it for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
My dog is obviously starving for attention. Get to my favorite part of any show, and that's the daily gratitudes. Starting with ladies first. Let's start with you, Laura. What are you grateful for today?
Woo. Giving myself permission to move on. Changing my prayers and not, I don't know, all my stuff's gonna be like relationship wise. I used to pray for my ex to come back to me, my baby daddy. Now I'm praying to be able to, God give me the strength to move on, the permission to move on. And when I finally started doing that, something amazing came into my life, unexpected, and that's just a beautiful thing. So I'm very grateful for that. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Jamie, what are you grateful for?
I am grateful for having human interaction after 5 days of being in the house by myself, sick with the flu, with this wonderful upper respiratory virus that I have.
Good. You did the same thing for me actually on games night. I really needed that human interaction you guys did there. I mean, the flirting you guys could have kept a little bit, a little more low key, but whatever.
So hard.
It's so funny.
So hard with you.
I keep getting a kick. I know, right? I keep getting a kick at how Laura's like just aghast at the idea that she would flirt with me, right? Like every time I've said it, she's just been like, "Fuck, settle down, big guy, not a chance."
You're
right?
tapping.
Turbo. And what about yourself, Gary? What are you grateful for today?
Man, I went and read to a 5th grade class this week, so that's what I'm grateful for. I read Humpty Dumpty, and it related a lot to my life, but I had to be PG-13 because they're 5th grade. But it really means a lot to me to be able to put things to the side to make time for the youth, and that's what I'm grateful for, being able to be a positive influence because I grew up around so many negative influences.
That's a great gratitude, man. That is. You just gave me a picture of Tyrone Biggums up in front of the classroom. That's Dave Chappelle character. That's the first time I sucked a dick for crack. Sorry, shouldn't have that visual. Oh, I'm gonna get canceled yet. It's like my life's mission. Hey, Rachel's in. Hey, Rachel, how are you? From Addict with a Purpose.
Yes. What's up, Rachel?
You're catching us right at the end, my darling. Right at the end. We're just doing gratitudes right now. Yes. It's too bad we missed her on that. Before I give my gratitudes, I want to say real quick, Jamie, when are you doing that live stream with Brianna?
Oh, next week. I think it is on Thursday or Tuesday. Hold up. Tuesday, January 16th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
All right, guys. So check that out, guys. Make sure you're tuning into that. And Rachel says, well, I'm grateful for y'all's, right? So thanks, Rachel. We are grateful for you as well. Expect yourself in a meme coming soon, right? Myself, I am grateful for all of you guys for just showing up last minute like this. This is just wonderful. It's really made my day. It's a good start to my day, and I hope it's been a good end to your day. And I'm also grateful to every single person that tuned in to check us out in this live stream. Do the things, guys, like, comment, share on the individual pages. Come check all of our stuff out. It really does help. Every time you do any one of these things, you're getting me a little bit closer to living my best life. And my best life is to make a humble living, spreading the message. The message is this: if you're in active addiction right now, today could be the day. Today could be the day that you start a lifelong journey. Reach out to a friend, reach out to a family member, call into detox, go to a meeting. I don't really care what you got to do. Just get that journey started. And if you have a loved one who's suffering an addiction right now, just taking the time to listen to us, if you could just take 1 more minute out of your day and text that person, let them know they're loved. Use the words, Jamie,
you are loved.
That little glimmer of hope just might be the thing that brings them back.